with prior knowledge of what is sustainability management, and what sustainability focuses on, let's deep dive into some terminologies which is used frequently in sustainability and specifically corporates regarding sustainability. So let's start this video. The first word that is the base of sustainability management, MBA in sustainability management, is sustainable development. The definition goes somewhat like this: sustainable development is a type of development that improves the quality of life when protecting the environment and preserving the natural resources. So, more or less, it means that you have to protect the environment and preserve the natural resources to improve, while improving the quality of life, while improving the standard of life. And how will we implement this sustainable development in our daily to daily life? Suppose in an organizational level, the implementation of sustainable development can be as follows. First, using renewable resources like solar, wind power to cut down their emissions, which is caused due to dependence of electricity which is coming from non-renewable resources. So these are some of the steps that they can take to cut down their emissions and move towards a very sustainable development. Second is practicing sustainable agriculture. There is a very good amount of agricultural knowledge that flows into the Indian farmers, that you have to rotate the crops that you are generating the whole year. So understanding and using the practices of sustainable agriculture also contributes towards sustainable development. And third is implementing a circular economy by recycling and reducing waste. So India is now actually moving into the circular economy mechanism, and companies are also trying their best to implement circular economy in their working mechanism, so that minimum waste is generated, and the cost cutting is also a very important part of circular economy, because the waste from process 1 goes into the process 2, the waste from the process 2 goes into the process 3. So the overall cost of the company reduces, and it is very important for the company to understand that circular economy not only reduces their cost but also helps in protecting the environment. And so let's move to the second terminology of our video. The second terminology is circular economy. First, the definition of circular economy. A circular economy is a sustainable economic model designed to eliminate waste and pollution by keeping products and materials in use for as long as possible. A very simple yet very effective example I can think of is, suppose a company produces water bottles. First, company produces a plastic bottle, consumer uses bottle, ends up in the landfill or ocean. This is how linear economy works, straight line. But when circular economy comes into picture, first, the design, the bottle is made from 100% recycled plastic. Second, the consumer buys it, uses it. Third is the very vital point, where recover and recycle. Company starts an initiative that people or consumers have to return back their plastic bottles, so that they can reuse the plastic bottles, shred the plastic, and again use that same shredded plastic to make new water bottles. So the loop continues. The circular economy is like a spear. Each and every process is connected to another process. So instead of creating new plastic from oil, the same material is reused again and again. This shows how waste can become a resource in a company that only produces water bottles. So this is a very good example of circular economy. I hope that you have understood how circular economy works. The third terminology of our video is carbon emission, the villain of the world. Okay, on that note, let's start. Carbon emission are the release of carbon dioxide, specifically known as CO2, into the atmosphere, primarily from burning fossil fuels for energy and industrial process. See, it is a very generalized term that is floating around a decade in the whole world. I don't need to make you understand what is carbon emission. But I want to put some of my points to you that how carbon emission is actually contributing to global warming, to climate change, to just pushing our earth, pushing our globe towards the very edge. See, problem is carbon emission is there is very limited amount of standards by which you can actually tackle and understand how much carbon you are emitting. You are buying a chips packet. You're thinking, oh, I'm just buying a chips packet. Am I generating some carbon? Yes, you are. Because now you are a consumer of that chips packet, chips manufacturing company, and you are also associated with the amount of carbon they are producing because you are actually consumer for that chips company. So it is very vast, and just to formalize carbon emission, it is divided into three scopes: scope 1, scope 2, scope 3. I'll describe these about the scopes in the further video. Till that, let's move to the fourth important terminology of our video, that is decarbonization. If carbon emission is there, then again our hero should be decarbonization. Decarbonization is the process of significantly reducing or eliminating carbon dioxide and other greenhouse gases emissions from human activity, primarily by transitioning away from fossil fuels to low carbon or no carbon energy sources. So, decarbonization in simple words is you have to cut down carbon. Simple, nothing else. And it is a methodology that is followed by various sectors of our country to actually limit their carbon emission and move towards a more sustainable practice followed by their organization or company. Specifically, most as in India being a very tropical country, we have solar energy in abundance. We can actually say that. So most of the companies are installing solar rooftops, solar panels, and contributing to the sustainable or renewable energy by actually getting 20 to 30% of their year's energy resources from solar energy. So it is a very continuous process, and we have to see that where we can actually cut down our emissions and use decarbonization strategies to preserve our environment. So the second last word of this video is carbon footprint. Carbon footprint is the total amount of greenhouse gases like carbon dioxide, methane, and several other carbon-based gases produced by a person, organization, or activity expressed in equivalent of tons of CO2. Like the measurement of the carbon footprint is done in how many tons of CO2 you've generated in an individual level, an organizational level, or activity like I am using my car to go from my office to my home. Then how much carbon footprint I'm generating. So this is the how carbon footprint is actually understood and calculated. So coming to the very last word of this video, that is greenhouse gases. Greenhouse gases are atmospheric gases that trap heat from the sun, warming the planet and causing the greenhouse effect. More specifically, there are 7 types of greenhouse gases that are carbon dioxide, methane, nitrous oxide, and the industrial gases is hydrofluorocarbons, that is HFCs, the purofluorocarbons, that is PFCs, and sulfur hexafluoride, that is SF6, nitrogen trifluoride, that is NF3. So these are the 7 types of gases that majorly contribute to the greenhouse gases. And the mechanism or working of greenhouse gases is that these gases are they act as a blanket and they do not allow to they do not allow the heat to go out from our planet. So what happens then? Then the internal temperature of our planet increases. But due to several emissions, due to use of fossil fuels, we are seeing that excessive amount of greenhouse gases is being released. And the best example is after industrialization, we have increased the global temperature to 1.5 degrees Celsius. Can you believe that? Like, till now, if you study the data of the temperature, it is increased by 1.5 degrees. So it is a very concerning factor, and we have to actually reduce and understand the carbon footprint we are generating, and find a way, sustainable way, to actually overcome this problem. With this, I will bid your farewell, and we'll again meet with a very new video very soon. Thank you. Have a good day. This is Bishesh signing off.